Over the last couple of weeks, I've given my students work on the Holocaust. Now, around this time of year, when we cover the Holocaust, we usually start with the build-up to the events that led to 6 million Jews and other minorities as well being sent to concentration camps and being murdered. Hitler came to power in 1933. He'd always made it clear that he hated the Jews in his book Mein Kampf, where he blamed the Jews for Germany's economic problems and also for their defeat in World War I. But when he came to power in 1933, he didn't start sending them to concentration camps straight away. I've already received some very good work from my Year 8 students. What we do need to remember though is that anti-Semitism or hatred against Jews did not start with Nazi Germany. In fact, it was happening for hundreds, if not thousands of years before then. This is a plaque that can be seen at Clifford's Tower in York. It commemorates 150 Jews who were given the choice to stop practicing their faith and become Christian or die. These Jews refused to renounce their faith and were therefore killed, and this made them martyrs. It shows us that prejudice or hatred against Jews did not begin in Nazi Germany during the Second World War. It had existed for many hundreds of years beforehand. It shows that in this case it existed in 1190 AD, possibly before then. So let's just remind ourselves of our key words for today. So when we talk about the Holocaust, we mean the mass murder of European Jews committed by Hitler and the Nazis between 1933 to 1945. By anti-Semitism, we mean a hatred or prejudice against Jews. The first step that we're going to look at is propaganda. The translation from the left and middle image is The Eternal Jew. This was a film that compared Jews to rats that spread over Europe that created the plague in the Middle Ages. It told lies about Jews to make the German population believe that Jews were to blame for everything that had gone wrong in Germany, including the defeat in the First World War. The middle picture shows a Jewish man appearing to be obsessed with money. The other sign in that image is the symbol for communism. Now, communism is the political belief that everyone is equal and that workers should have most of the political power and wealth, seeing as they can create most of the produce. Hitler hated communists, and he believed that it would make people not want to work hard for Germany and that it would destroy German businesses. The third image was created to make Germans believe that Jews were a threat to their children and weren't to be trusted. Whilst in schools, children were also being taught lies about Jews being mean and horrible stereotypes about Jews being ugly and having big noses. The next step that the Nazis took was to introduce laws that would make life difficult for Jews. These were known as the Nuremberg Laws. The Nuremberg Laws of 1935 took away the right for Jews to vote and hold public office. Food available was not kosher, so therefore it was very difficult for Jewish people to find certain foods to eat that would meet their religious needs. Jews and non-Jews were no longer allowed to marry. Jews had to carry ID cards to show they were Jewish. Jews were no longer allowed to go to university, and some jobs they were not allowed to do. Also, Jewish doctors could not treat non-Jews. Jewish-owned businesses were banned, and Jews were not allowed to go to discos or cinemas or public swimming pools. We see a photograph there of a Jewish man and his non-Jewish wife being publicly humiliated as they were believed to have tarnished the German honour. The third step was to inflict violence and intimidation on Jews. Hitler and the Nazis needed an opportunity, an excuse to do this. In November 1938, they found that excuse. Kristallnacht, translated as the Night of Broken Glass. In November 1938, a German diplomat had been assassinated by a Polish-born Jew in Paris. In response, the German government allowed a night of anti-Jewish riots. So Nazi officials and also members of the public were encouraged to attack Jews. Synagogues were burned, Jewish homes were destroyed, and businesses were looted. Around 10,000 shops had their windows broken, which is why it was known as Night of Broken Glass. When the sun rose in the morning, the broken glass in the road and in the streets looked like little crystals. Around 100 Jews were killed and 20,000 were sent to concentration camps. Jews were also blamed for the extent of the damage and had to pay for the cost themselves. In total, there was around £1 million worth of damage. Part 4 saw Jews rounded up and relocated to run-down, dirty, disease-ridden parts of the city, known as ghettos. Jews were forced into special sections of the city called ghettos. They were shut off from the rest of the city, which was very overcrowded. Food, water and power was cut off, and hundreds of Jews died every day. In Warsaw, in Poland, there were around 440,000 Jews that were living in the ghetto. Now, the size of the ghetto was only 5% the size of the entire city, so that's a lot of people squeezed into a very, very small space. So let's go over those 4 steps again. Step 1 was anti-Semitic propaganda, posters, textbooks, education, and children being indoctrinated or brainwashed. Step 2 were anti-Semitic laws, the Nuremberg Laws. Jewish people no longer being allowed to be German citizens. Marriage between Jews and non-Jews was banned. Step 3, violence against Jewish people, Kristallnacht. State-organised violence. Jews were blamed and had to pay for the damage themselves. Jews were arrested and sent to concentration camps. Step 4 were the ghettos. Jews were separated and walled off in ghettos. There were awful conditions and thousands were dying of starvation and disease. From the ghettos, Jews were rounded up and sent to death camps. They were the first 4 steps towards the Holocaust. The final step was known as the final solution, and I will try and make a video about that. You will have work on it over the next week or 2, so good luck with that. And in the meantime, stay safe.